can you do? What can you do about this game? I mean, you had a chance. You had a chance to close it out and take command of the AFC North. Instead, you blew it. You blew it at the end. Alright, guys. Let me wait on this game right here. Oh, man. In the beginning, fantastic. It was great. But in the end, to the very last second, just flat out misery. Disappointment. You look at this right here. We just got overwhelmed, gassed out, and just outplayed in the second half. Ravens fell short against the Cleveland Browns on a score of 33-31 in a classic AFC North matchup. It is what it is at the end of the day. You cannot go wrong with the AFC North matchup, but I know the fans are frustrated, the players are frustrated, knowing that this game really mattered most for the division, but not the case. There will be no sweep in the Ravens-Browns series. And it was just a complete opposite directions when it came down to the two halves in today's game. First half, all Baltimore. Second half, back and forth, but more so Cleveland Browns dominated. Their run game was just killing our run game. But in terms of passing, it was hand in hand. But when it came down to that game-winning drive, we had a chance to close it out. 1-point game due to the missed extra point. And you just can't stop that run game at all. You can't stop the pass game. Oh boy, that tight end, David Njoku, you can't bring him down at all. What are we supposed to do about it? You came into the game as a top 3 defense. You went out there and you just... first half you played solid. Yes, you got the pick 6 off of Deshaun Watson in the first quarter. Your defense started strong. But through 4 quarters today, the Cleveland Browns have scored in each of the 4 quarters that are played today. What makes matters worse, we got outscored 16-7 in the 4th quarter alone. And in the second half, you got outscored 24-14. Offense played inconsistent left and right. Defensively, you just can't stop the run game. You got lost in the secondary. There's nothing you can do about it, except just watch the Cleveland Browns celebrate on our home field, and then we lose in disappointing fashion. Take a look at the stats right here. Deshaun Watson, despite getting hurt, had to overcome a lot of adversity. Terrible second half, or terrible in the first half, but even better in the second half. 20 of 34, 213 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, which was obviously the pick 6. Sack 4 times for a loss of 18 yards. QBR was terrible in the first half, but it improved as the game went along into the 3rd and 4th quarter. Lamar Jackson, 13 of 23, 223 yards passing, 1 touchdown to OBJ. Great. But the 2 picks, one of them going nowhere. That was going towards the end of the first half, I remember, which he threw it for no reason, up in the air, lob pass. And then that second one, What can you do about that pick six? It was just a great defensive play. It's just that he did not try to force it too hard. It just got tipped in the air. The Browns defense made a great play, and then it got returned for a pick six by Greg Newsome. It did not go off a lineman. It just went off a Browns player's hands. Great defensive stop. What in the world are you supposed to do about it? It's just that the Browns defense was making stops in the second half. We were exposing them in the first half of the game, but we just the O-line just couldn't contain Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith in the second half. And at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson's QBR in this game, it soared into greater heights in the first half and then just took a big trend in a downward spiral as the game ended. Look at this run game, this prideful run game that we have, which is our staple of this franchise. You take away Lamar Jackson's 8 carries for 41 yards. I mean, you look at Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell. Yes, these two guys got a touchdown. I mean, each of them has a touchdown, but if you take a look at it, wish we can use them a little more in this game. Keaton Mitchell, 3 carries, 34 yards. Gus Edwards, 11 carries, 24 yards. Not so much there. And oh boy, Justice Hill. Justice Hill, 2 carries, 7 yards. So in total, plus Lamar Jackson's 41 yards, you only have 106 rushing yards, which is okay, but not great at all. Because you look at Cleveland, on the other hand, they have 178 rushing yards all over your heads. So you can tell Cleveland dominated time of possession. They dominated the run game, and they dominated the second half. Despite being down 14 points, they overcome adversity, just like that. As for us, we're still the Kings of the North because we're still at a 7-3 pace. Cleveland moves on to 6-3. Pittsburgh won today, then they're on to 6-3. Bengals lost today. They dropped to 5-4, which means they're dead last in the division, which sets up a Thursday night football matchup, which looks to be a low-scoring game, but who knows what will happen in that matchup because both defenses on right now, as I saw today, look exposed. So who knows what's going to happen. But in the words of Jonathan Allen, one of the captains for the Commanders, my message for these guys coming off this tough loss at home is that we need to get our minds right, and then we got to go out there and get ready to play Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football. If we do not come prepared at the bank on Thursday Night Football, I just don't know what to say. It'll be painful to lose 2 games in a row, not only at home, but against your divisional rivals. You just lost a game that which you could have had, and I thought it was going in that direction, but it wasn't the case. It was just not the case. Looking back at this stat sheet paper right here, forgot to mention the receiving corps. Zay Flowers was doing all of the work for this receiving corps. 5 carries, 73 yards. But sadly, no touchdowns. Mark Andrews, 2 catches for 44 yards. OBJ, I'm glad he got his touchdown. But that was the only catch that he got today for 40 yards, and that was a touchdown right there. Rashad Bateman, 2 catches, 25 yards. Nelson Aguilar didn't do anything at all, unfortunately. Isaiah Likely, just a catch for 5 yards, nothing special there. And there's your receiving corps. The receiving corps didn't do too much today. It was just too prideful in that run game that we got here, which didn't do too much today. All I can say right here is that I was disappointed with what I saw in the end, but at least we leave everything out there on the field. It's like, what, our 4th straight game or so that we put up 30 plus points, or even better. But all I can say is that my mind right now is focusing on Thursday Night Football versus Cincinnati at home. If we don't come prepared for that game, I just don't know what to say. Because right now I'm just flat out disappointed with what I saw in the end. But I know that this offense can do better going into Week 11. Defensively, they also got to make adjustments because they got gassed out. And we just did not generate enough pressure against Watson all day. Minus the 4 sacks, I'll give them that. But overall, they just could not generate enough pressure at him whatsoever. So, final message, get your minds right and get ready to play those Bengals on Thursday night on a short week where you have a chance to really take command in the AFC North. It's been a minute since you swept a division opponent, but Thursday night is your second crack at it. So Ravens, get your act together. I know you guys can do this. I believe in you. And clean up the mistakes that you made today. You still played a heck of a game that came down to the wire. And with that being said, I don't have anything else to say. I'll probably just watch the rest of the Commanders game against the Seahawks, but I don't know what I'm going to do. With that being said, that's all I got to say.